Thank you, John. I take it everyone can see the screen. Fantastic. Okay. So I think you already know about us. Just quickly glance over this slide. We work with UK colleges, local government. We also work internationally in Hong Kong and in India, and we've won different awards. Our Journey to English Intermediate course has also been endorsed by City and Guilds, SQA, and the English UK Language Society. So I thought it would just be quite good to start with actually one of our students via a local authority here in Scotland. And this was just their words that they talked about when they used the Digital Learning Hub and the Digital English courses. They used the intermediate course, and you can see the student with his City and Guild certificate. To him, it was like using Netflix, but he learned English, which was great. He got support from his adult learning tutors, Susan and Deirdre, and that's really because the platform's been built with teachers and tutors at the centre of it, the fulcrum of it, so that they can support their learners as they progress through the online course activity by activity. So I just thought it'd be quite nice just to highlight a student, because quite often these are the people ultimately that we want to help with their English language skills. The Digital Learning Hub itself, it has 2 full online courses. The beginner course is Journey to Basic Skills, the intermediate course, Journey to English, and there's hundreds of hours of online learning in each of these courses, which are fully interactive. And by interactive, what I mean is that they actually are interacting with the content, and when they give an answer, they're given an instant response, whether that's right or correct, before they move on to the next activity. We have blended learning tools, we have online reporting, so that if your students are using the tools and the courses, you can see their progress by time and by progress as well. And that information can be shared not just with the tutors, but at an organisational level as well, with moderators within your organisation. It also includes additional learning materials like our grammar guide and digital diagnostic tests as well. It can be accessed through a laptop, desktop, or a mobile phone. And this is how it aligns on the CEFR scale, which isn't always appropriate for people and tutors that are teaching in the UK. It's more the ESOL levels that are appropriate, but we always include the CEFR levels as well in terms of the alignment to the courses, because we're talking to customers at an international level as well. So you can just see there where pre-beginner starts. We include the A0 level because we also work with people who have absolutely no knowledge of English, right through to the intermediate, and a new course that we have, which is for healthcare professionals from overseas, supporting them in preparing for the OET English course, which is mandatory to work in the NHS. We have a progress. The courses are designed to be progressive, so starting at A0, they can continue with modules at A1, then on to modules at A2, and on to B1 and B2 before they finally get their independent certificate from City and Guilds. And now I'm going to go into each one. I think it's probably just easier, rather than talking about these courses, just to actually show you them. If you wish, I can also look at the English skills test. We have a automark test that's available, and that's the reading and listening parts that are automarked. And we also have a full English skills test. Now that does require tutor marking, so we can also show you how the tutor marking works for the writing and speaking elements of the online English skills test as well. We have additional tools. I think the most important tools are probably the audio recorder and the notebook. They're really useful for tutors in terms of gathering evidence as well of proficiency in English, whether it's speaking or whether it's writing skills, because all of those can be recorded on the system, and tutors can give independent feedback to individual students on their speaking skills and on their writing skills. So I can show you that as well. So now I'm going to go and jump right into the live demonstration of the hub. So all students, tutors, and moderators log in the same way. All you need is an email and a password to log in. Now I've got a fully loaded digital learning hub. So I have all the courses loaded into my dashboard, as well as the assessments, which you can see here, and the additional learning material. So from a kind of super admin perspective, at Click to Learn, it looks like a lot of content, but a bit like Netflix, where you have adult access and child access, you can decide what tiles, which content your users can see. So very often our customers who have ESOL learners who are at the beginner course, all they see when they log in is Journey to Basic Skills, and that's the beginner course there. So that helps really with usability and user experience. So I don't know if anyone said if they're particularly interested in the pre-beginner or the intermediate course. I don't know, I've got a few quick things coming up here. Let's just see if anyone's asked to see if they would rather see the beginner course or the intermediate. No one's said. I'll probably start with beginners. I think that's a good one to start with. So here's Journey to Basic Skills. Click on Start, Login, and everything about Journey to Basic Skills has been designed to be intuitive. Because we're working with pre-beginners, there's no written or audio instructions in English. What we use instead is animations. This is my account. So some of these sections and modules are already glowing, which means I've already accessed them and progressed. But if you were a student, the only thing you would be able to access is the introductory video. So I'm just going to play that. Just make sure that you can hear it. That sound is coming in, that's great. So I'm going to turn the sound down because it's really just music. And what this is doing is introducing them to the concept of Journey to Basic Skills, which is we're taking you on a journey around the English-speaking world. So each module is a different country. And as students learn English, they also learn about the world around them and places in that country. And this is just showing them what they'd be expected to do in this example, drag and drop lower and uppercase letters. So that's how it starts. Once they've watched the video, they click the arrow and it takes them to the next stage. So I've done this before, but once I've watched the video, it would take them to this yellow icon, and that takes them to a short diagnostic quiz. And again, this shows you what I mean by not having written or audio instructions. We're using this animation to show them what to do rather than tell them what to do. So this diagnostic quiz is quite important. Right at the beginning of the course, before they do any activities, they can go in and we're really doing a kind of assessment or a quiz to see what their level of English is. I won't do this entire assessment or this diagnostic quiz because it'll take a bit of time. But at the end of it, it really ends with them filling in a form to see if they know where to put the first name, the last name, telephone number, postcode. If they perform well on that, they go straight to the A1 module, which is beginner level. If they don't do so well on it, they go to the A0, which is the pre-beginner. And this is where an awful lot of the content in the A1 stage of Journey to Basic Skills is. We take the concept of going on a journey, but what they have to do in this module is prepare for the journey, and they have their suitcase. They can earn with the activities they do throughout things they need for their journey, so their toothbrush, their passport, etc. So as they're completing activities, they're earning coins, and they can use those coins in the shop to buy things. So what's covered in this element? What we have, which is always available, is the index. So you can go in module by module and see what's covered. So here it's introducing yourself, English sounds, English letters, numbers, days of the week, months of the year, colours. In the index, you can see as a tutor at the final module in the pre-beginner course, you can see things in the United States of America, which is A2 pre-intermediate. It takes you to leisure, sports. Topics cover things even like multiplication, division, forming questions, and some grammar there as well as a revision quiz at the end of the course. But if I jump back into the pre-beginner, every module starts with a video. And again, that's really allows, it sets the context for what they will learn in that module.
Hello,
Hello,
my name is Zach.
my name is Alexa.
I come from Hong Kong.
I come from Qatar.
So once they watch that video, they will then go on to do activities to support them at that level, all based around what was contained in that video. So here it's giving them how to form the sounds in their mouth. Again, there's just so many different activities that they would go through in step. This is starting with the alphabet, and hello was the first word they used in that video. So you can see how that is progressing and including that in the learning. So I won't show you all the activities because there are quite a lot of them. But every 10 or so activities, there's always a little game.
L. O.
And that is adaptive as well. So this gives them a score. That's when they earn their rewards. If they don't do very well in that little test or assessment, it will go back and they'll do more. They'll be given more of those activities that they did not perform well in. If they perform well, they can go on to the next level, and that's taking them through more activities. So there is literally, hundreds of activities at this very, very first stage, and lots of different games. So there's a lot of kind of ground to cover. This is a matching one, matching the letters. If I get one wrong, let's get this one wrong on purpose. So they're getting that sound to say, no, you don't want to have that one right. Quite a lot of the activities have a tick or a incorrect X mark. But that gives you an idea of what the course and what the activities look like. We also have lots of different accents, English accents, because we believe English is a universal language. So students can choose to hear an accent or to hear the audio in a British English accent.
I can play cricket.
Or in this case, an Indian English accent.
I can play cricket.
But we have lots of different accents as well, included. I think it's the Nigerian English accent.
I can dance.
I can dance. That one's a bit faint. So lots of different activities that they can do. Students that go straight to A1 Australia proceed through to the different countries, the Philippines, Hong Kong, India. And then once they complete India, they've achieved that A1 level, and then they proceed into A2, which is South Africa, United Kingdom, Canada, and United States. Now, I've not continued on to that A2 level, so these are currently grayed out for me. But what that really means is for any student coming in, the activities they have completed are ticked green, and the ones they still have to do are in grey. As a tutor, these activities or these modules would all be unlocked, so you can jump around the course and see what's covered in each of the modules, which can be quite useful. So again, just key things to point out here was the course index and the brain. I haven't touched on the brain, but as people are learning, we obviously don't want them to have to go back in and find that activity if they want to refresh. So we've included all the points for reference that they've learned so far, so they can go back and revise what they've learned. That will build up as they progress through the course. That also includes their writing formation. Play that and see how to do and get a reminder of those activities for the full alphabet, and all their vocabulary is included, and also the items that they've packed in their suitcase during the preparation module. So I think that's a good very quick overview of Journey to Basic Skills. I'll just see if there's any questions on that particular course before I move on. That's it. It seems to be okay. Anne, is there anything else you think I should add about Journey to Basic Skills? Oh, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I lost my connection, so I didn't really follow everything. I got the first few minutes and the last few minutes, Alison. So I'm sure it's absolutely fine.
Great. Okay. Super. Now, if you do, what I will be doing also is if anyone has any questions about Journey to Basic Skills, I can forward on the product sheet which lists the curriculum outline as well. So I can forward that after the webinar. Now, going into Journey to English, which is our intermediate course. I'm just going to load that up. And I think the easiest thing to do with this is to take you through the curriculum. Now, Journey to English is along the same theme of a journey. However, designed for people coming to the UK, it is a journey around the United Kingdom. So as they are progressing their English proficiency at the B1 and B2 level, they're also learning about the United Kingdom. Each module covers a different part of the country, and there's additional learning for them to find out about different places within the UK. So I think the first thing I'm going to show you is the overview before I go into an activity. Again, this is available for all tutors and all students to go in. You can see the overview. I hope you can see this actually. I'm demonstrating it, but I'm just thinking it might be a little bit hard to see. But the topics, you can see we divide it three ways, the overview. So you have the topics alphabet, applying for work, right through to important people. Again, introducing yourself, schools, colleges and universities. And when you're online and looking at the course, you can click on a module or you can go to the individual activities where that particular topic is covered. So if I wanted to go and look at what was covered in schools, colleges and universities, I'd say, okay, that's covered in module 7. Let's have a look at an activity. And I could click straight on that. I'm taken to module 7, activity, the main ideas, and each activity tells me what type of activity it is. This is a reading activity and it would take 15 to 30 minutes. And they again, it's quite intuitive. They would just click start and go on to continue through that activity. In this particular example, they've been asked to write the answers in their notebook. So they've been asked to read the text and then answer the question, what good qualities does Sally have? The notebook's available at all time. So this was Sally's qualities. Just going to put them in there. Sally has X and Y qualities. I haven't read it, but that's just to demonstrate how you would work the notebook. And then save that. So that's been saved to my notes as long as it's got a title. That should be fine. There it is, Sally's qualities. And then my students, I would be able to see all their notes for particular activities as well and go online and give feedback. And that's really what our student in the very first slide I showed you was saying. Using the Digital Learning Hub, he could progress the journey to English, do the activities, and then he had his tutors were able to leave a comment and give direct feedback. Using the system. So if you have a lot of students, it might take you time, to write them all, but what you can also use is the audio. So if I click this button, I can say, fantastic, you're doing a great job, Mohammed, that was the correct answer, or give some other comment, and then that's recorded for the student to get the feedback. So I've just jumped into a little bit of information about our tools there, but I thought that was quite useful to do that. So I'm going to go back. I'm not going to do the full activity. Let's just see if that lets me back in again, because I'm jumping around a little bit. And the reason I'm jumping around is because I really want to kind of show you the structure. So we were looking at that activity, I think it was module 7, activity 3, and you can see here that I'm in Sheffield, this part of the country, and as I progress through this module, I'm going to the Peak District, and I'm going to Stoke-on-Trent, Chester, Colwyn Bay, and finally Bangor. So every module takes place in a different part of the country, and at the end of each module, there is a vocabulary test and a grammar test. If students wish to get their certificate from City and Guilds, they must pass 80% on the grammar, on vocabulary, sorry, which then unlocks the grammar test. And again, I think they have to get something like 86% on the grammar test. And those tests are based on all the content in that module. So it makes sense for students to go through each module progressively and each activity by activity in sync, really. I'm just going to show you the structure of Journey to English here again, because it's quite visual, it's quite nice to see. They start up in the north of the country for personal identity, and this unit covers English for everyday use. And then Unit 2, Who's Who in Britain, Education in the UK, Finding a Job, the World of Work and 21st Century Issues is in the second half. So if I go to Finding a Job, you can see here the topics that are covered: applying for work, interviews, working life in the UK, and the grammar points you will learn in that module. This is quite a nice example because you can see the different types of activities: reading, vocabulary writing, reading, and we've also got some speaking activities in some of the modules here as well. Statements and questions in Bristol. In this activity, you can practice using just your voice to make the difference between statements and questions. So in that activity, they would be expected to practice their speaking skills and record them. So that's me jumping in and out of the kind of the overview there. I'm just going to go through that again. You can see the grammar points covered in a list here. And also you can see the module descriptions, and that takes you through each module and exactly what is covered in that activity as well. So there's a lot of detail there. As a student, you don't necessarily need to see all of that, but I know most of the people we have here today are tutors and teachers. So I thought it would be useful to share the overview first. But again, like Journey to Basic Skills, when a student jumps on to the Digital Learning Hub and starts the course, they just start where they left off. So whatever module they were on, they continue with where they were. So it's always recording their last activity. As a tutor, you can see all your users within Journey to English as well, but you can also see them in the reports. So I think it might be a good idea just to move to reports just now, unless anyone wants to ask any questions about the intermediate course. Just check chat. I think that's fine.
So, Alison, if you can also include the collaboration tools down the left as well, that would be excellent. Recorder, courses, reporting, etc.
Brilliant. So there's two ways to access them. If you're in Journey to English, you can access them with these icons here. You can see them. There's the notebook and there's the audio recorder, and it pops up. So the reason we've built it like this is that you can access that from the course itself. I'm going to come out of that one. So when Journey to English says practice your intonation, you just hit the red button and it starts recording immediately. You can see the seconds building there, and I think there's probably a cut-off limit of about 3 minutes, and when you click stop, it gives you the option to save webinar demonstration, to save that file, and I'm just going to save it there. Now, we've done that so that you're not the student isn't taken out of the course. So if they're in Journey to English, they can do an audio recording or write a note and save it at any time. It just pops up on their current activity. However, they can also access these tools using the left-hand side menu. So if I click on, sorry, not chat, if I click on the notebook, it comes up on the full screen. So I can just practice writing a covering letter, for example, and just start typing, "Dear Sir, I am writing to apply for the position of XXX." And you can see the word count is building there. So if you wanted to set an assignment, you could do that, and the student could save it, and then you could see that saved in your notes if you're the assigned tutor. You can see that Sally's qualities was the activity I did while I was in Journey to English using the pop-up, and you can also see the covering letter there. So that's a useful tool if you want students to be practicing online from home. And we also have the audio recorder as well. Again, it's a simple press the red button and it automatically starts recording. And then if I click stop, again, I just save it. I'll call this test Jan 2022, and that will save that audio file. So I don't know if I have practiced any of these. Let's see if you can hear it.
You didn't tell him, did you?
There we go. I think that was supposed to
You
be.
didn't tell him, did you?
I think that was me practicing without intonation. But yes, so I don't have students within my super account in Click to Learn, but if I did, I would be able to see those students, and I can show you a demo account of that as well in a minute. We also have the meetings tool, and we have set this up. It's really just a reminder to include links for whether you use Teams or whether you use Google or whether you use Zoom. It's a way of you being the organizer of a meeting and adding a link so that your students in your group can see that link and go to it at any time. And we also have a chat tool as well for you to talk to the group and assign maybe just to chat to them about an upcoming drop-in training session there as well, and allows you to talk to a group or to talk to an individual student. But it's tutor controlled, so students aren't really able to talk to each other via that. The group would be set up via the tutors. So now I'm going to show you the reports. The reports come in 3 formats really. There's an organizational report, there's your own personal report that a student would see, and then there's the weekly snapshot. So what you get in the report for the organization is a view of all your learners by course. So here's Journey to English, here's the people who have progressed it. Here, Megan, she's completed 96%, but she's completed it. And she did it in 21 hours in this case. That's because she was testing it for when she joined the company. And it just gives you an at a glance view of everyone in the organization, how they're progressing. And that is the same view for Journey to Basic Skills. Again, you can see how people are progressing and how much time they've spent on each of the courses so far. We have the English skills short test. So this was the short test I was talking about earlier. It just marks the listening and reading. And I'll take you through that. But what we've done is at the pre-beginner level, we've split that into band 1, band 2, and band 3 for more granular details on their level of English. And then we have the full English skills test below that, which is tutor marked. So for example, when a student takes the test, you will get a notification. So I think it's probably best to show you that in the demo account. And before that, I do that, I'll just show you the individual users report. So whether you're a student or whether you're a tutor, you will actually have a report on your own progress. So I can see that I've progressed through 78% of Journey to Basic Skills. And 11% of Journey to English. I've watched some resources that are also on the platform. I've watched the idioms and phrasal verbs, and I haven't sat any of the grammar games, but that would appear there as well. And I'm waiting for my tutor to get back to me to give me feedback on my beginner full test there. I can also see the band I got for my short skills test. So all that data is there and in real time for the students to see. So I think at this point, I'm just going to come out and show you this on a different account. Sorry, I don't know if that's picking up a different screen. Let me just see what you can see here. Okay, there we go. I'm going to show you the test. Actually, does anyone have any questions on the reports or the tools before I move on to the tests? That's a good question. Okay, so at the end of the assessments, oh yeah, so Anne's answered that. We display the answers, students can see where they went wrong. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so on this account, what I can see is the organisational reports. Just to go into this is an account for Super College. I can see all of my students here. One of the things I missed out really actually on the previous screen was when you see a student's progress. Here's Jacob, he's completed 48%. When I click on this eye, it will take me through every activity that he's completed and the coins he's earned, when he started it, the date he completed it, and the time he took. So there's a lot of granular data in there, and that can be quite useful if a student has got stuck at a particular point. You'd be able to go in and intervene. We have the English skills short test data there, and then we have the English skills full test. So what I thought would be quite good is just to show you what that looks like from a tutor perspective. So if I look at Deepal here, it's got a B2 for both listening and reading and an overall B2. As a tutor, when you get a notification that a student has completed a test, it will appear here. I don't have any students completing it right now, but when you click on that link, it would take you directly to that test to be reviewed. We also include a marking guide. So the marking guide, if you can see that there, it gives the tutor instructions on how to mark the test. It also looks at this. This is, for example, the speaking marking criteria and the level comments. There is writing marketing criteria and also examples at each level of what the kind of things you would expect to see. So that's always available to you if you're marking the test. In terms of the test response itself, this is what it looks like. You can see the reading. The automated score was 15 out of 19, which is a B2 level, and you can see the answers they gave. You can see the level B1 question, the level B2, but you also have the option to read the results and change the mark and give some feedback. So you can save that, you can give your feedback, and you can change the mark even for the auto-marked elements on the test. Here, this is a personal statement that the student has written, and the tutor will have assigned that B1 mark there for that written work. We have the listening, and finally the speaking elements. So you can listen to the responses the student gave. I can just play this.
Concierge people by 5 minutes, so they left it on my steps. I think that.
Oh. And you can actually just see, I think there's just some background on that particular one there. But you can, once you listen to their answers in full, you can give a grade. I'm going to give this one B1. Not all the questions were answered in full. Feedback on audio, and save that, and that will then be saved to that user. And then you can give the overall mark and feedback. Again, save it, mark as complete, send results and feedback to student, notification is sent, and then you can view that feedback on the user's report. So what does that feedback look like for the student? Just click on that. You can see the student Depal here. He can read the feedback from the test. Here's the test here. It's been marked. View the feedback, and you can see I changed that mark there. It was B2, it's now B1. Not all questions were answered in full. Feedback on audio, which is the new text that I added. They can download their report, and in that report they can see what their result means. What does a B2 level mean for reading? It describes that they can read with a large degree of independence, etc., etc., and that's for all 4 skills. So that's what it looks like for the tutor when they're marking a report. The tests themselves, again, you might decide what you want the user to see. You might not want them to do the full English skills test. You might want them just to see the short automated. And again, you can choose what each group and each student sees. If I click on the short English skills test here, and I start with the beginner, the short test, that will just take them through it. I think I've probably done it on this account before.
Hello.
But I'll take you through that because they can resit and retake the short test at any time. Yes, so I had completed the assessment. I scored 10 out of 59 for reading and 0 out of 42 for listening. So I'm a band 1. I click on that. When you can look back. Want to try again, click here to reset the assessment. So I can click here and reset the test again.
Hello.
And they can take it as many times as you want them to. So it starts with the reading. Again, this will be familiar. It's seeing whether they can match the upper and lowercase letters. It includes time, includes understanding plurals, and I'm just going to go through some of this to show you it, but I don't want to do it all. That's the form filling exercise. I'm going to get a very low mark. Numbers, it includes numbers as well. That's all included there. And it's they can do the test on a mobile phone or desktop or a computer as well. And I think there's something like 110, it's marked out of 110 in total. So it's just to give you a feel for what this looks like and what it would look like for the students as well. So I think that's probably enough at the moment in terms of giving you an overview of the tests and the courses. I will definitely be sending an overview of each of the courses and the tests and the tools, just so you have a bit more information to digest in your own time. Is there any other questions that anyone would like to ask while we've got Anne and John on the webinar? Have they been answered at the same time?
So Cal has given us some excellent questions throughout. So just to recap on any of the questions that Cal has given us, because they were all really useful, just in case anyone isn't accessing the questions. So Nicola had asked earlier, sorry, about the collaboration tools down the left-hand side. So that was the audio recorder, the meetings, the notebook, the chat. So we've covered those, which is excellent. Then we had some questions from Cal about the grammar and vocabulary reinforcement. So there's a number of enhanced tools, enhanced learning tools within the system. So that's grammar guides, grammar games, animations, etc., etc. And these are very much there for reinforcement. There was some other questions as well from Cal. And that was, sorry, I seem to have missed that. Yeah, so I mean, really, as a platform, I have to say that our CEO Anne, who is not a tech by career, but 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, Anne set out to build a technology system that could allow English learning to be shared really across the world. So, you know, we have been building this system for the last 10 years. And we are constantly improving the system. We believe we'll be building this system, improving the system for the next 10 years. You know, so we very much welcome all feedback on the system, and we're constantly taking feedback from our users. We currently are progressing hundreds of Hong Kong BNOs on our system right now, and that's occurred over the last few months. And it is just wonderful to be working with the Hong Kong BNOs. They are loving the system. We're seeing that both through their usage data and also through the feedback that we're getting with them on setup, on support questions, and at the end of the course as well. So, there's nothing, more kind of, more amazing for us than to actually see the users, genuinely using the system and loving using the system. So we are now starting to work with a number of Afghan resettlers. So we are very much working with the local authorities to make sure that any introduction guides, are provided in, any languages, any languages that may be required. So we're very proactive as an organisation. Our goal is really to support you guys. Our system is here to give your learners a tool that they can collaborate with you on. If anything, if COVID has shown us anything, it's the fact that we do need to have platforms and technology solutions that can allow learning to carry on through a pandemic. We have been very firm from day one that our system can never replace what an ESOL teacher can actually deliver, because it's much more than just learning. It's developing confidence. It's giving our learners a reason to get out of their communities and to go into different communities and to practice the English that they're learning. So we never see this as a replacement of ESOL tutors. Our dream scenario, and indeed the stats that we see that demonstrate the best learning outcomes, is a blended learning solution. It is tutor plus technology, and that's very much the way that we are growing the platform.
Sorry, I just saw someone had raised a hand, and just in case we're stuck, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think we had someone who'd raised a hand. Is that right? Oh, they definitely raised a hand, and now it's gone. Ah, yes, hang on now. I do see it. I do. It's Keith.
Okay.
Just see if Keith's still on, in case you wanted to ask
Yeah,
a question.
sorry
Hi,
to
Keith.
interrupt. I'm not sure there's a time constraint for this or not. Well, thank you very much for introduction of this platform, and I mean joined in via the City Council's reference, and we are actually a group of new arrivals. We are basically having well, a bunch of BNO visa holder well rushing for the last 10 months since last February, and we are, I mean, we have formed a self-help group to help the community to learn English so that we'll be able to fit in better. And we have certain, ESOL teachers helping us on the way. And I mean, once I come across with your system, we found that very, I would say blow my mind, because it seems like a virtual classroom that cater for both of our tutors and our community as well. I would like to know whether there's a chance that we'll be able to bridge in, or I mean, would you suggest in a way, because I mean, under our count, we've got about approximately 600 to 800 new coming Hong Kong families right now in Nottinghamshire, and we really want to, get everyone ready for both the language capability and also to get involved in the community as soon as we can, so that we will be able to live here and also, do our part and starting. Besides from getting help, we want to help other people as well.
And Keith, thank you for your question. We work with a number of Hong Kong groups as well across the UK. So it probably makes sense for us to get your details and arrange a private call after this group webinar. But we absolutely love working with the Hong Kong BNOs. We really do. They have just been so, just so thankful for the system and so engaged in the system. They've just become our favourite learning cohort. They really are. They've just been absolutely amazing, amazing. So let's get a call arranged after this for later in the week, and let's see how we can work together to make sure that this system is serving for your group of Hong Kong BNOs. But just brilliant, and thank you so much for that feedback. Really, thank you.
Okay.
And the words that you used there, Keith, actually, like a virtual classroom, that is very much the essence of what we are trying to achieve. But that virtual classroom is made better by having virtual tutors working, in whether they're volunteers or whether they're, formal ESOL tutors or English teachers. That is the way that our system delivers the best learning outcomes. So let's get that call arranged. Any other questions from anyone else?
I
We're
did
almost
see
at the
quite a good
end.
question actually about can multiple tutors see a group within an organisation? And the answer to that is yes. So if you have, I don't know, say you have 100 learners and you've split them in across 5 different tutors, if you're a moderator, you can see across all of those groups within your organisation. So depending on how you want to configure it, we can set that up. And what we do, and what I don't always discuss in the webinar, but what is really important is that when you use Click to Learn as a tutor, we give you an onboarding session. So we have a kind of 2-week period to help you get up to speed with it. It doesn't actually take that long, but that gives you that opportunity to come back and ask us questions. We do a kind of half-hour onboarding, which enables you to sign up, enroll your students into your organisation. So the way that works is once we've set up your organisation or your group, we give you access as a moderator, you assign your tutors, and then tutors can add students. We do find that different organisations have different ways of doing it, but it's very much your platform rather than you having to come back and ask us for things.
However, that said, we're also there to assist all of the tutors to onboard their learners. So, what we don't want is for tutors to think, oh my goodness, this is a difficult technology play. We're just paid to teach. We are here to support all the tutors. So if there's any questions in terms of onboarding, we are here. And if that requires us to help you on board, we will help you onboard the learners. Something to mention as well. So we have been extremely lucky, to have met all of the strategic migration partner heads across the UK, really from Scotland all through England and Wales and Northern Ireland. The feedback that we've had on our system has been outstanding. We're absolutely delighted by that. The feedback we've had on our pricing is, that it's very much appreciated that we've taken this down to the lowest possible cost, to our cost price of running the system and supporting the system. My understanding is that most of the funding of the cohorts that we're talking about, so that's the Afghan resettlers, Hong Kong BNOs, Syrian asylum seekers, that these will be supported from the Delta Fund, but I would ask you to go back to the likes of Hannah, all of your SMPs, Hannah. But so Hannah would be able to guide you in terms of whether your applications would gain the funding from, I believe it's called the Delta Fund. That's the £800 odd that's allocated towards the English learning of your customers, of your clients here. So our system is clearly stated on the Home Office's report that that digital systems can be used for all of that budget or some of that budget or part of that budget. Especially given that COVID has obviously created some difficulties in terms of learners actually getting into ESOL hubs or physical classrooms or libraries, etc., etc. Also, what we would say as well is that we have had a lot of experience in terms of helping to kind of set up and deploy, into your learner cohorts. Some of them may be in quarantine hotels, some may be in ESOL hubs, some may have been resettled into the communities. you know, if you require assistance in terms of how do we design, you know, our program, what kind of workflows do we create in it, you know, how do we get the learners started, you know, we welcome your requests, you know, to get us involved, to collaborate in your program. I know a number of the quarantine hotels are bringing in IT equipment. I know that the Ministry of Justice had committed to providing a mobile phone for the Afghan resettlers. So I think, you know, at the start of the Afghan resettlement program, you know, towards the end of last year, things were very much moving, you know, moving at a rate of knots. I think things have started to settle down a little bit now. But as I say, you know, if there's any questions you've got, you know, obviously Hannah is your first point of contact, but we, you know, would love to be involved as well. So if there's anything that you think that we can assist with, you know, just drop us an email and we'll be right with you straight away. If there isn't any other questions, if that's everything for today, then it just leaves us to say thank you so much for attending the product demonstration today. Obviously, everyone is extremely busy. It's a dark, miserable January winter's evening. Everyone's obviously stayed behind to kind of, you know, to learn a little bit more about the systems. So thank you so much for your time today, for your engagement, for your questions. And as I say, we're just a phone call or an email away. If there's anything we can help you with, just reach out straight away.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Anne.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Alison.
Thank you. Bye.